I'm a firm believer that God will present certain messages or perceptions of living life to you at the right time for you. And a few of those messages I would like to share with you guys today, because these are things that, one, I kind of left out of my last video that has miraculously just blew up. But two, I think that are more aligned with what I think will help a majority of you guys who are watching this video. So right now we're currently in Dubai, and what's crazy is I manifested all of this. You know what I mean? If you know a little bit about my story, you know, selling do-rags out of the car, selling clothes, you know, living on Section 8, you know, all of these different things, and to kind of see where I've gotten to. This is why I want to share these messages with you guys, with the hopes that, you know, you can live this life one day. This isn't, you know, a green screen or nothing like that. Like, it's legit, you know what I mean? So yeah, let's jump straight into it. Again, this video is not going to have any crazy edits, no crazy thumbnails, no nothing, man. It's just raw, uncut, real messages from your boy Tez. So the very first thing is that I see oftentimes where people feel like, you know, I'm battling these demons and I'm battling all these things that's happening to me in life. And one of the things that I like to remind people is that the demons that you feel like you're fighting are all of your habits that you have not yet cut off, the bad habits, right? And what's happening is that you feel like they're demons because they're actually snowballing. All of the stuff that you know you're not supposed to be doing and the things that you said you were going to do, aka your word, you didn't stand on it. And that's why it feels like you're fighting so many demons or you have so many problems happening in your life, is because you're not following the path that you said for yourself that was best for you, right? And, you know, God has an interesting way of presenting things to you. You know what I mean? Like, you may ask for strength, but then he gives you something that will show you or test your ability to have strength, right? You ask for patience and he tests you with patience. And I think so often people just want things to happen when you want it to happen. And it's like, you don't deserve it yet. You know what I mean? Like, the person you need to become in order to live this type of lifestyle, you haven't became that person yet. You haven't locked in on reading. You haven't started going to the gym. You haven't, you know, started writing down your goals or cutting off those friends or getting out of that relationship. And you can't blame anybody but yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I always talk about this being one of my superpowers, is that I blame myself for everything. And there's so many times where it's so easy for us to just blame family, mom, dad, you know, I grew up here, all these different things. And it's like, to me, man, like, when you give all that power to other people or to external things, it does you no justice. It does nothing good for you, right? And I always thought to myself, it's like, you know, when I was a kid, I used to be like, why me? You know what I mean? Like, I used to get picked on in school. You know, people would pick on me. I didn't make the basketball team. Then I would make it, and then I would just always go harder. You know, my family's Muslim, so, you know, a lot of people would make fun of me because of how I dressed or how my mom would come in for parent-teacher conference or just certain things, and it made me insecure about myself. And, you know, it's crazy because now that I'm at where I am now, it's like, you know, the same people who made fun of me in school are now the same people asking me how they can start their business, or asking me, you know, can I help them, you know, manage their money, or, you know, telling me congratulations, or telling me they never thought I'd be here. You know what I mean? And it's kind of crazy because at some point in time, people will be saying the same thing about you, or they're probably saying the same stuff about you, but it's on you to go prove to them that you can go live this lifestyle that you want to live. And, you know, like I said, I used to always be like, God, like, why me? Right? And then I just started remembering, like, why not me? You know what I mean? Like, you ask for all of these things that you want in life, and to expect that you won't be tested is like, it's like a fairy tale. You know what I mean? It's like you're living in a fairy tale land. And, you know, part of having a legacy, a part of having a last name that holds weight, is being able to withstand the tests of time, right? Like, all the stuff that's going to happen to you, being mindful that these things are happening for you. They're not happening to you, they're happening for you. Because every new obstacle you overcome, it allows you to become a closer version or a closer estimate to who you really want to be, right? And I always remember, you know, God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. And it's like, whatever you're going through in life, it's like, you just got to be mindful that you got to be in the moment, be where your feet are. You know what I mean? Like, there's too many times where we can just open up our cell phone and just escape. Or we can go to the clubs and we can go drink and we can just escape. And it's like, you can't escape the reality of things, right? And it's like, if you don't put the time in now, you'll be clocking in and working for someone else and building their dream for the rest of your life. And it's like, at what point in time do you just start considering what you really want? for yourself, for your kids, for your last name. And I know people, we're talking about this on the comments of the last video, me just speaking on, how I view my last name. And it's just how I was raised. You know what I mean? Like, I always tell my daughters now, man, it's like, although I haven't had a son yet, I want my daughters to realize the power that they have, right? And the only way you could do this is instilling something meaningful or something powerful to them in the early ages of their life so it can grow. It's like planting a seed, right? And, allowing them to see, your last name holds weight, and then me going out and proving it, right? And that way, documenting everything that I'm doing, showing them what I can do, achieving the things that I'm doing now will just allow it to be a little bit easier for them to understand that, hey, I am powerful. I can become exactly who I want to become. And it all starts with intentions. It doesn't matter what age you are. You know what I mean? Like, I always wanted myself and the type of person that I can be to impact people across all ages, across all races, across the world. You know what I mean? I wanted to be a global figure that can, allow my messages and my story to actually resonate with people and show them what's possible. And, like, intentions is so valuable. Like, I think it's the most important thing. And I think it's like intentions plus manifestation, right? Like, back when I was sleeping in my car or delivering do-rags or working a factory, working 12-hour shifts, one of the things that I could just always remember is, like, when I used to get in my car or I used to, be sleeping on the floor, I will always close my eyes and just imagine me having exactly what I want right in front of me, right? So it's like, that car that I always wanted, I would squeeze onto my Impala steering wheel, and I would just be like, man, this is the Benz that I want. This is the Rolls Royce. This is the Lamborghini. And then it's like, okay, the house. I mean, I have this picture in my head of my ideal house. I don't know where it's going to be at in the world, but I know exactly how I want it to look. I've already went through the whole layout as if I walked in and I was going upstairs in the chandelier and where the stairs are and where the garages is, how many cars can fit in the garage, how big is the backyard. And these are all things that I'm constantly putting into my head, and it's creating a certain level of frequency, right? Like, a high level of frequency and intentions and manifestation will lead you to living the life that you always wanted to live. And I tell people this all the time. It's not by luck that I got to where I am in life. I prayed, number one, I kept the law first. I kept God first, right? And this is another thing before I continue going on. I want y'all to understand that I respect all religions. What I believe is what I believe. And what you believe is what you believe. I embrace everyone. I respect everyone. So I would just like for you guys to do the same, because obviously in the last video we had a lot of just different messages from other people. So I would just like for you guys to respect that as well, right? But back to what I was saying about higher intentions and intentions in general, a higher frequency of thinking and just manifestation. And a lot of the times, like, people think that this stuff is not real. And it's like, I am living proof that it's real. Like, the goal setting, writing it down, like, standing on your word, imagining things, like, and I always used to tell, like, my family, like, older people, when they ask me about investing in traveling and doing better things for themselves, it's like, you can't lose sight of that inner kid, right? Like, being a kid allowed you to just always have imagination. And part of getting to where you really want to get to in life is having an above average level of thinking of yourself, but an unrealistic level of imagination. And that's what allows the frequency to be put into the universe, or things to be put out there for you to attract it, right? Like, everyone's chasing things. And I feel like once I stopped chasing the money or chasing, fame and stuff like that, that's when it started to come to me naturally. And it's like, it's been better for me, and I think it'll be better for you to look at things from that perception, where it's like, I want to attract the things that are going to be best for me. But the only way you can attract something is by first thinking it. And the way you think right now is why you are where you are right now. And, it takes an insane amount of guts to really, like, have this level of thinking of yourself and think so highly of yourself, but your reality and your environment is not there yet. And a lot of the times, that's how you'll become a powerful individual. And it may not happen in the time frame that you want it to happen in, right? It may not look the exact way that you imagined it, but in due time, when it does happen, you will be able to look back and thank the person that you once were. You know what I mean? Like, I talked about that in the last video, where all the things that I do in life, I do for the future self, my future self, the 5 years away from today self. So I can look back and say, yo, you became exactly who you said. You did all the things you said you were going to do. You got fit. You cut off the friends who didn't benefit you. You started, being selfish. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people were like, well, I don't really believe in being selfish and all these things. And it's like, how selfish of you to not be selfish of your last name and the people around you. How selfish of you. You know what I mean? Like, you had people in your family and your lineage that sacrifice so much, and for you to not be selfish, it's like a slap in the face to them. Because at some point you gotta make sure your boat is cool. You can't go out there and make sure everybody else straight first. You gotta make sure you good first. And it's like sometimes people feel bad about it, and it's like, nah, like, you live your life for a reason. And I'm not saying to just completely cut off everyone in your family and never take care of anyone. I'm not saying that. I'm saying put yourself in such a good position, think so highly of yourself that you can become the version that can take care of everything, right? Like, I'm the breadwinner of my family. And it's like the amount of stress that I deal with, the amount of anxiety or the thought processes and the amount of work and hours that I put in, it's above average, right? But this is why I live an above average lifestyle. This is why I can spend $5, $6, $7, $10,000 on a trip and attract it right back, you know what I mean? Or make the money before I even go on the trip, and this is how I got myself to this point. So higher frequency thinking, your energy, and this is why I tell people, you got to be very careful with who you allow to have some of your energy, who has your time, who can have your love. These three things are so important, and I think people just give it out so easily. And this is why it's like so difficult for you to like reach that next level. Like right now, there's a few of you who are watching this where you are already there mentally, but it's your environment that is not allowing you to grow. And part of it is like your mentality of how you think about your environment is like, you have to take a shift at some point in order to really shift your environment and your reality of things. And it's like, it's uncomfortable, but the point of life, the point of tests, the point of all of these things that Allah or God or what, the higher being, whatever you believe in, the point of all of these things is to see how you react during those tests. And it's like at every moment when you're tested with things, are you going to quit? Are you just going to give up? You going to push it off and delay it and say, I'll get to it another day? Like, the successful version of you would never say that. The successful version of you is going the extra reps inside of the gym. The successful version of you is reading a couple extra pages even when you're tired. The successful version of you is telling all your friends that you can't go out this weekend because you got to go watch a course, or you decided to watch some YouTube videos, or you wanted to get through some books. The successful version of you did cut off the people who don't make sense to be around. The successful version of you decided to put themselves first. The successful version of you started to think of their last name first. And it's like, until you go do those things, you deserve to be where you are right now. And it sucks. But no one ever told you living this life was going to be easy. I think about it all the time. There's a golden yacht right here. Y'all can't see it, but let me show y'all. I can't even zoom back out that far. There's a golden yacht right here. The person who owns this yacht has complete freedom. His last name holds weight, right? And it's like it wasn't pretty to get there, to be able to afford a yacht. I mean, if I had to take a guess, this yacht is probably $40 to $50 million, right? But it's not a coincidence that he got there. You know what I mean? It's not by accident, for all I know. But the thing is like, this shit's not supposed to be pretty. It's not supposed to be cute. It's not supposed to be something that just looks like rainbows and you just floating through the sky. Like all these movies, they make it seem like all this stuff is like, nah, man, like, it took me 6 years just to get to where I am right now. 6.5, 7 years to just get to where I am right now. And I still felt like I haven't really made a dent yet. You know what I mean? And it's like the amount of years and hours, the all-nighters, the early mornings, the not kicking it, the hiatuses. I often go on hiatuses. Like I decided to completely stop drinking and smoking. You know what I mean? Like that's something a higher frequency of myself decided to do, because it's like, in order to become the next version of myself, even though I'm great where I am now, I can always be greater. In order to become that version of myself, it requires me doing something that most people would not do. And that's the part that you have to start realizing. It's like, in order to change who you are right now, number one, you have to change how you look at yourself. If you know you look like crazy right now, or you're not okay with how you look, for fellas, cut your hair. Right? Like, if you got all these crazy dreads and people judge you off that, and you can't view yourself the way you want to, cut your hair. Start fresh. Ladies, you know what I mean? Maybe go get a different hairstyle. Go do something different with your hair. Go change your smile up, right? Or do whatever you feel like is going to allow you to perceive yourself the way you need to perceive yourself to get to the level that you want to get to, right? And, one of the things for me that I always try to, remind myself is that, obviously you want to be comfortable with yourself, but a big part of being comfortable with yourself is being pleased with how you look and pleased with who you are, right? And, oftentimes, like, a lot of people just aren't okay with how they look and all these different things, right? But that's a whole nother topic. But in order to get to where you really want to get to, you have to have a higher level of frequency. And here's the thing. Right now, if you're watching this video, you're probably early 20s, early 30s, early 40s, late 50s, early 60s. You might be in your 70s or 80s. I would love to know. Comment down below. And there's always time for you to make better decisions. There's always going to be times for you to say, yo, I want to go be better. I want to start going to the gym. I want to start waking up early. I want to start reading those books. I want to start hanging around better quality friends. I want to start hiring better people for my company. I want to build a company. I want to know what it takes to become a millionaire. What does that look like? Or I want to save my first 10,000. I want to save my first 50,000. You are completely capable of doing these things, but I'm going to tell you something. No one is going to come do the work for you. If you decide that you want something for yourself, be willing to deal with all the bullshit that comes with it. You have to be comfortable with it. The point of uncomfort, right, is so that you don't get comfortable. When people get comfortable, that's when they decide that they don't want to go work harder. They don't want to go put the extra hours in. They can delay it. They can do all these things. I'm okay with where I am. And I'm going to tell you something. After I made a certain amount of money between the ages of like 22, 23, 24, right? It was like I started getting comfortable. I stopped going as hard. I stopped traveling as much. I started being more okay with the people I was hanging around. And then it was just one day where I just woke up and I'm just like, man, like, I'm still not at the level I wanted to be at this age. And I wouldn't say I had a head start because I didn't have a silver spoon. I lived in Egypt for 4 years of my life. You know what I mean? I came from hard upbringings. It's like I did give myself such a good start to things at 19, 20 with starting my businesses and things like that I do believe I should be farther in life than where I am right now. However, it's like, just because I believe that doesn't mean that it's true. Like, you really got to go out there and earn the life that you always wanted. And, I'll bring up the rocket analogy again that I brought to you guys in the last video, where, when a rocket goes up into space and it's breaking through the atmosphere, one of the things you have to be mindful of is around that rocket, there's multiple layers of that rocket. There's all these components of the rocket. And at different levels of the atmosphere, things start to break off and fall off, right? And it's the same exact thing with business and in life. You know what I mean? As you're going through life, there's going to be family that can't go with you. As you're going through life and you're trying to become the best version of yourself, there's going to be friends who can't come with you. That relationship that you've been in and it's not going to make sense for you once you get to where you really want to get to, that can't come with you. So you have to be comfortable with the idea of losing things to gain things that are more valuable to you. And however you perceive this video, however you look at this video, or if you watch this video a few times, I want you to understand that, again, it is very possible for you to get to where you want to get to. It does not matter how you look. It doesn't matter how you dress or what you believe in. None of that stuff matters. What matters most is, do you believe that you can go do it, and are you willing to put the work in over an extended amount of time without seeing any type of return in the beginning? Only when you become okay with that in your heart and you're willing to make the sacrifices and you start doing it consistently, only then will that become an actual reality for you in the future. Again, your last name holds weight, and how you perceive that, how you listen to that, or how you make that understand or comprehend in a way for you to resonate with it in a higher level is completely up to you, right? But one of the things that I'll say is, again, you don't deserve anything. You don't. You got to go work your ass off for the stuff that you want in life. Nobody's coming to save you. Not me, not the government. Damn, for sure, not the government. No one's coming to save you. So it's like, Your future self is counting on you to make the decisions that need to be made for him or her to live the life that you always wanted to live for the rest of your life. So are you willing to make the sacrifices now? Yeah, it may take a few years. It may take 100,000+, 10,000s of hours. It may take a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, right? It may take, losing a lot of friends and being lonely. But is it worth it? I'll leave you off with this, a very powerful quote. The price of success is steep. It's super expensive. But when you get to your deathbed and you look at the bill of all the regrets, you'll wish that you took action now. Don't be the version of yourself that gets to your deathbed and wish that you would have made better decisions, wish that you would have done things differently. It's scary right now to make the decision. I know, trust me. I did it, and I'm still doing it. But the more money you make, it only amplifies who you are in the beginning. So start with working inside, then out. It's the only way you'll become exactly who you want to become. So I hope you guys leave a subscribe, leave a like. I've loved the messages from the last video, so if you haven't gotten a chance to watch the last video, I think this one and that one are just, again, clear messages from me to you. Things that I feel like I've learned from God and from Allah just over time that I feel like are just have been the most powerful for me. And I know you guys really like videos like this, so I really wanted to share these things. And like I said, I'm not selling you anything in this. I'm not promoting anything. I don't even make money from this outside of the ad revenue. This is me being completely transparent. This is just raw, uncut, real messages from me to you, with the hopes that you change your situation. You change the way you live life. You change your last name's, ability to achieve things in this world and how they view themselves in the future. That's all I hope for. So that's pretty much it for this video. Leave a like, subscribe, and you can follow me down below in the description on all my social media pages. It's there. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your day and share the video if you liked it. Peace.